Hello everyone, welcome to QuintEdge. This is CA FRM Jan. In this video, I am going to talk about FRM exams in detail. The reason behind creating this video is in past many questions were asked to me regarding FRM exams. Few questions were really particular, like how do I clear my exams along with higher studies? What's the procedure to reschedule the exams? What's the procedure to defer the exams? How do I apply for charter holder? What kind of work experience is required? Is my work experience relevant enough? And few questions were really general. What's the fees GARP charges to allow you to sit for exams? How much time does it take for me to clear FRM exams? And many more questions. So I've compiled all these questions and created this video to answer all those questions. So I'm pretty sure if you watch this video till end, 80-90% of the queries will be answered. And in case you have some particular doubts, reach us to in the comment section below and we will definitely get back to you. We have policy of 100% doubt resolution. So let us start. First of all, let me tell you what we are going to discuss in this video so that you can directly jump to the section that interests you the most. So in this video, firstly, I will be telling you about GARP, the institute that helps you to prepare for these exams and conduct these exams. Then I'm going to talk about FRM curriculum in detail. Then I'm going to discuss FRM exam eligibility, fees and the time taken. Then I'm going to discuss the placement and salary post completing FRM. Then I'm going to talk about FRM Charter holder and the relevant experience. And then I'm going to talk about planning your FRM exams, whether you are a graduation student or maybe you are a CFA student, maybe a CA student and maybe a professional who have already completed their studies and now planning to appear for FRM exams. I'll help you to plan your exams. So let us start. First of all, let me tell you about GARP. GARP stands for Global Association of Risk Professionals. So it is a US based institute. So any educational qualification that emerges from US automatically have that stars attached before its name. Because US in general, the education quality is so high. The same is case with GARP. It is recognized all over the world. In fact, in many countries, FRM designation is considered equivalent to your post-graduation. In India also, in fact, it is accepted. So in around 190 plus countries, there are many charter holders working as FRM. There are currently around 70,000 charter holder and increasing at the rate of 15% per annum. So it's really good. The industry is expanding and this is the only institute in the world that is known to provide quality risk education. In fact, there is no course you might not have heard about any course related to risk management. So there is nothing called as bachelor's into risk management. There's nothing called as graduation into risk management. This is the gold standard. So whatever GARP teaches you regarding risk management, it is considered as the gold standard across industry. Okay. So you don't need to worry about the quality of education that you are going to receive or the credibility of institute. It is very well renowned in the entire world. Now let us move ahead and let me talk about FRM Part 1 curriculum and FRM Part 2 curriculum. FRM Part 1 curriculum is basically telling you about the tools that you can utilize to measure and manage risk. So it is about tool and Part 2 is about the application of those tools. To clear your FRM exams, basically you have to clear two exams or two parts. So Part 1 exams and Part 2 exams. Part 1 exams, you have to study 4 modules or 4 subjects. Part 2 exams, you have to study 5 modules and 6 subjects. Let's discuss Part 1 in detail and then I'll talk about FRM Part 2. FRM Part 1, 4 modules. The first module is called as Foundation of Risk Management. Foundation of Risk Management is more or less theoretical in nature, but it's really important. Whatever you learn in this Foundation of Risk Management about various kind of risk an organization faces, all those emerges into individual subjects in your Part 2. So you learn about market risk, credit risk, operational risk. All these emerges as a subject in Part 2. So this is bit or more or less theoretical in nature. So second module is quantitative analysis. Quantitative analysis is basically statistics. So you learn about descriptive statistics, you learn about inferential statistics, you learn about probabilities, hypothesis testing, how do you forecast using regression, how do you do simulation analysis, sensitivity analysis. You learn about that into quantitative analysis because you have to measure and manage risk. To measure and manage risk, you need data in terms of numbers. How do you derive those numbers? Using quantitative analysis. So this is statistics. Then financial markets and products. In general, there are 5 kind of financial markets. So one is equity, another one is fixed income, another one is derivatives, and another one is commodities. And the last one getting accepted slowly and slowly is cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrencies are not covered into your risk management curriculum as of now. But here we talk about remaining 4 financial markets and their products. So derivative is a kind of financial market. The product of derivative market is future, forward, swaps, option. You learn about all those over here. And then the last module, valuation and risk models. It is basically telling you about something called as VAR, value at risk, a very important tool to measure risk. So it talks about that, and then it dives into details of options, so binomial pricing model, Black-Scholes model. It is discussed over here. This is all about the tools that you need to measure and manage risk. Now you have application of those tools in FRM Part 2. So FRM Part 1 is a mix of bit theory and practical. FRM Part 2, if you really read it well, it is 100% telling you the application parts. It's more fun than FRM Part 1. In FRM Part 2, in total there are 5 modules and 6 subjects. The last subject being current issues in financial markets. This gets updated once in a while. So maybe every second year, third year, this will get updated. These modules remain more or less the same, right? There are some additions and some deletions every attempt, but more or less these remain same. But current issues in financial market gets updated, okay? So right now current issues could be COVID, could be say replacement of your LIBOR rate. All these are discussed over here. Now let's talk about these subjects. So just read the name of subjects. Market risk, measurement and management, credit risk, measurement and management, operational risk and resiliency, liquidity and treasury risk, measurement and management, and so on. So basically what I want to tell you is, you learn about individual risk, you learn how to measure it, you learn how to manage it if something goes wrong, right? So this is all about FRM Part 2 curriculum. I have covered FRM Part 1 curriculum in much more detail than FRM Part 2 curriculum. And the reason is, if I want to discuss this in detail, I have to tell you in detail about these, and the video doesn't permit me that, right? So in classes, we dive into details, we dive into aspects that is far beyond the books. But right now, I'm just sticking to whatever it is written on the slide. Now let us move ahead and talk about FRM exams in detail. Date, mode of passing, pass rate, exam duration, and other things. First of all, let's focus on Part 1. Part 1 is conducted 3 times in a year. Earlier it was only conducted 2 times. So May, August and November, this is at least applicable for 2022. May attempt gone, August attempt gone, November attempt is due in some time. It is a computer based training, that is you don't have to write answers on paper. There will be screen available in front of you. You have to take the correct answer. It's an MCQ based exam. In total 100 questions will be asked and you have to take the correct answer. There is no negative marking. So there's a positive thing about this exam. The total exam duration is 4 hours. So there will be 2 sessions of 2 hours. So you appear for exam say 9 to 11 and then 11:30 to say 1:30. Then pass rate for the latest attempt was around 51%. So odds are in your favor, more than 50% pass rate. Now let's talk about FRM Part 2. FRM Part 2 very similar to FRM Part 1. Number of questions that you have to attempt are lesser. So in total there were 100 questions for FRM Part 1. Now you have 80 MCQs only, but the depth of question, the quality of question increases drastically. You have to apply more brain while calculating solution for FRM Part 2 exam than FRM Part 1 exam. This held only 2 times in a year, May and November. It is also a computer based exam. There is no negative marking. Again 4-hour session, 2 hours each. And then the pass rate is even higher than Part 1. So Part 1 pass rate was around 51%. For latest attempt, pass rate is around 57% for FRM Part 2. Okay, now let us move ahead and let's talk about exam fees, rescheduling and deferring your exams, eligibility and completion. So first of all, focus over here, exam fees. Be very attentive. There is a $400 registration fees that you have to pay. This is only one-time fees that you have to pay. So $400, this is fixed. Along with it, you also have to appear for exams. For that, you have to pay exam fees. If you appear early, if you register early for exams, you have to pay $600. If you register a bit late for exam, you have to pay $800. So if someone asks me, what's the minimum cost to appear for FRM Part 1? 400 registration and 600 as an early. So 400 plus 600, $1,000 on lower side. 400 plus 800, that is $1,200 on higher side for FRM Part 1. You can convert it into rupee. For FRM Part 2, you're already registered. You don't need to pay this $400 again. If you register, if you register for exam, $600 if you register early, and if you register late, then $800. So minimum 1,000, and then you register again for FRM Part 2 on time, before time, $600 for that. So in total, $1,600 on minimum side you have to pay for exam fees as well as your registration fees in total for both the parts, assuming you clear exams in one go. And then if you register late in first attempt as well as second attempt, so 1,200 plus 800, that is $2,000. So minimum 1,600 to maximum $2,000, assuming you clear your exam in one go, is the fees. Okay. Now let's talk about eligibility. So it's a very welcoming course. People from any background can register for FRM exams. So there is no minimum eligibility criteria for FRM Part 1. For FRM Part 2, you should definitely clear your FRM Part 1. So there is no as such minimum eligibility for Part 1, but for Part 2, you need to clear your FRM Part 1. Then rescheduling and deferring your exams. First of all, let us understand what's the difference between rescheduling and deferment. Rescheduling means shifting your exam in the same attempt to some other date, and this is provided free of cost. This facility is provided free of cost. Suppose my exams are on 26th of November. Because of some reason, I have to shift it to 29th of November. If the date is available, it's the same attempt, I can apply to the institute and they will reschedule my exams. This is called as rescheduling and it is free of cost done one time. What is called as deferment of exam? Deferment means shifting your exam from one attempt, maybe from November attempt to May attempt. This is called as deferment, and for this you have to pay $200, right? So $200 for deferment, rescheduling and free of cost. Now completion of exam. So there are two timelines that I have here. One is 6 months and one is ideal time 1 year to 1.5 year. 6 months technically possible, but I do not recommend it to anyone. So 6 months, like how you can do it in 6 months? Appear for FRM Part 1 and FRM Part 2 exam on the same day, in the same attempt. So November 2022, if you sit for FRM Part 1 exam in morning session, if you sit for FRM Part 2 exam in evening session, if you clear FRM Part 1 and Part 2, you will be given FRM designation. But this is not recommended because you are here to learn the concepts. If you try to do it in really short amount of time, what will happen? You will end up mugging up things and then ultimately it will be as useful as your BCom degree. That is worth nothing, right? So you are here to learn the concept. I think minimum 1.5 years is required to absorb all the concepts. So ideal time is 1 to 1.5 years. If you have a very rich finance background, maybe you have done CFA, maybe you have done MBA finance, maybe you have done CA. So 1 year recommended. If you are really new to all these things, 1.5 years. This is the ideal timeline. If in case you're not comfortable, you're working, you have some other responsibilities, stretch it to 2 years, 2.5 years at your comfort. This is just what I generally recommend to students. Okay. Now let us move ahead and let's talk about something really important, placement and salary post FRM. So these are the industries in which you will be working: banks, investment bank, consultancy, hedge fund, credit rating agencies, etc. And I have divided the salary into 3 groups. If you work in tier 1 firm, if you work in tier 2 firm, and if you work in tier 3 firm, this will be your salary. So let me give a caution over here. Investment bank does not mean investment banking division. So in investment bank, there are many divisions. One of the division is called as investment banking division, in which they are helping clients to raise money, in which they are helping clients to do M&As. You are not going to work there. Maybe you will work alongside trading desk to help them manage their portfolios and position, right? So investment bank done. Banks, you will be generally working on Basel norm, something related to Basel norm, maybe Basel norm implementation, all those things. Consultancy, many times organization need external help of some expert so that they can guide their organization to do proper risk management. You can act as their consultant. And then other industries, maybe hedge fund, credit rating agency, etc. For example, hedge fund, they have humongous portfolio, humongous positions, maybe of derivatives. You can help them to manage their risk, right? Now, what is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3? Let me explain. Tier 1, say in the context of bank, could be international banks, say Bank of America, Deutsche Bank, Credit Suisse, all these things will fall under the bracket of tier 1. Tier 2, maybe say HDFCs and Kotex and ICICIs. And tier 3, anything that is not tier 1, tier 2 is tier 3. So this is the median range that I have for you. If you work in tier 1 banks after clearing your FRM, Minimum 9 lakh to maximum 12 lakh. This is a median range. Your mileage may vary by 5-10% here and there. But this is what I have seen generally. Now, tier 2 banks or tier 2 firms of any sort, maybe banks, investment bank, consultancy, 7 lakh to 10 lakh is a broad range. Your mileage again may vary. And then tier 3, 5 lakhs to 7 lakhs. So if you ask me what's a broad range, so I say on minimum side 5 lakhs, on maximum side 12 lakhs. So 5 lakhs to 12 lakhs depending upon in which industry you are working, depending upon which kind of organization you are working. 5 lakhs to 12 lakhs is the broad package you can earn. Okay. Now let us move ahead and talk about FRM Charter holder. This is really important. Students generally ask me, why do I need charter holder? Like I've done my FRM exams, I've cleared them. Why do I need charter holder? It's simply a way to portray I'm an expert into risk management, because you only get charter holder after providing for certain work experience, right? So let me give you a step-by-step guide to achieve your charter holder. First, very obvious thing, register for FRM Part 1 exams. There is no pre-requirement, I've already discussed. Study at least for 6 months. That's why I recommended 1 to 1.5 years. At least 6 months of study is required irrespective of your finance background. Whether you have very rich finance background or maybe you are completely new, minimum 6 months of study is required so that you can absorb concept. Then clear the exams, obviously. Then register for FRM Part 2, and this is where it becomes really important. You need to learn additional skills along with your FRM Part 2 preparation. So additional skills maybe could be say learning coding languages like R and Python. If in case you're not comfortable with say coding languages, maybe learn Excel and prepare to learn models on Excel. Maybe calculation of war, maybe Basel norm models, credit risk models. All these models you should at least know how to prepare it on Excel, and then you can like learn the coding languages and apply it into the coding languages form. Then after learning these like additional skills and preparing for exams again for at least 6 months, you clear your FRM Part 2 exam. Then you need to provide GARP with an experience of 2 years at least. In which domain this experience should be? It should be into financial risk and related field. So financial risk and related field. So on the GARP website it is written finance, but I've seen many emails where they specifically say you need experience into financial risk. So for me, say I work at Bain and Company. So for me, that could be somewhat a relevant experience, right? For you, it could be maybe you don't have relevant experience right now. Before you started with FRM, you don't have any relevant experience. GARP give you 5 years of time to achieve 2 years of relevant experience. So in next 5 years, if in case you can provide GARP with 2 years of relevant experience, then GARP will consider you for the FRM charter holder and they'll give you. What if you don't get relevant experience in next 5 years? You have to again appear for FRM Part 1 and Part 2 exams in case you don't get the relevant experience in 5 years. Okay, so this is really painful. So I generally recommend either you have already appeared, like you already have that kind of relevant experience, or in next 5 years get that relevant experience. And I'm pretty sure it's easy, right? Because you have done a specialization into risk management. That means you want to make your career into risk management. In next 5 years, you will be working in this domain, right? So it's really easy to get 2 years of work experience into finance risk and related fields. But I will highly suggest you to plan it before you like enroll for FRM exams. Okay. Now let us move ahead and let me help you to plan your FRM exams. So first of all, figure out in which bucket you fall. Are you a college going student? Are you a CFA student? Are you a CA student or professional who have already completed their education? If in case you are a college going student, you have just cleared your 12th exam, maybe you are in your first year. So what I ideally recommend is first 3-4 months, 5 months, settle into your college life, enjoy your college life, and you will start studying. You know that you will start studying for competitive exams maybe after 2.5 years, near your last sem. So you have 2.5 years of time available in which obviously you can enjoy, but at the same time clear FRM exam. So maybe after 6 months settling into college, don't plan for FRM exams in next 6 months. You can plan for it in next 8 months, 9 months, 12 months. So maybe say 1.5 years into college, you are able to clear FRM Part 1 exam. 2.5 years, 3 years into college, in the last sem near about that period, you should be able to clear your FRM Part 2 exam. So what will happen when you sit for your placements? you will be having your educational qualification, whatever you got from that college, and an FRM degree, right? So this will help you to get a job like really quickly and a relevant job. If you are a CFA student, I'll recommend, in case you need expertise into risk management. CFA entire curriculum is designed from the return point of view. But if you need experience or expertise into risk management, then only you should be going for FRM. Otherwise, there is no need for you guys. Okay. So CFA students, there is lots of overlap between level 1 and FRM part 1, CFA level 2 and FRM part 2 curriculum. So what I generally recommend is, since there is lots of overlap, you should give these exams in near term. So suppose you finish your CFA level 1 exams, in next 2, 3, 4 months, you should appear for your FRM part 1 exam. Then you clear your CFA level 2 exams, in next 3, 4, 5 months, you should appear for FRM part 2 exams. So by the time you clear your CFA level 2 exams, you are already done with your FRM course. And once you start applying for job, and mostly students do it after level 2, you will be in a better position than a candidate who have only done CFA, right? So plan your CFA and FRM parallelly. There could be 3, 4, 5 months of gap depending upon how much time you need to prepare for exams. Around 5, 6 months is required for you guys also to prepare for FRM exams. Since there is lots of overlap, you can reduce it to say 4 months, 4.5 months, not lesser than that. Then CA students, there's lots of uncertainty in CA students' life, right? Because after clearing your IPCC, you start with your articleship, 2.5 years you work, and then you appear for CA final exams, and they are really uncertain. So what I ideally recommend is, along with your IPCC, if you are comfortable, and if you're not comfortable, once you clear your IPCC group 1, group 2, and you start with your articleship, along with your articleship, you should be planning your FRM part 1 and part 2. So by the time you complete your articleship, you go for articleship for around 2.5 years. In those 2.5 years, you can complete FRM part 1 and part 2. So by the time you start your preparation for CA final, in case CA final doesn't greet you well, that is you're not able to clear it, you'll at least have FRM qualification and you can land up a job almost equivalent to what chartered accountants get. Okay, now coming to professionals who have already completed their education, have not studied say from last 5 years, 7 years, 2 years, 8 years, whatever is the time duration, I'll recommend you firstly take help of a coaching instructor. These people have ample of time. You have certain responsibilities, you have work responsibilities. So generally you should be taking help of a coaching instructor. QuintEdge or any other coaching instructor that you find will be able to help you to clear FRM exams. Take their help. For CFA students, not recommended, but maybe if in case you want some assistance, you can go for it. College students, coaching instructor is required to a certain extent, but in case you are a student who always prefer to study by themselves, you can do it because it's a distance learning course. CA students, along with your articleship, there is lots of things for you to manage along with your work. You have to attend your classes and all. So if you are planning it properly, plan it with some lighter subjects. Maybe if you have joined classes for accounting, don't join FRM classes with accounting. Maybe you can join it with say some optional subject. You have joined classes for optional subject, along with it prepare for FRM exam. So plan it accordingly. For professionals, you need coaching instructors help, highly recommended. So that's it for this video. I've tried my best to cover all the queries, all the questions that were asked to me, have compiled them into this video. I'll again urge you, in case you have any doubts, feel free to reach us in the comments below. Till next time, bye-bye.